Hi, how you doing? My name is Robert Caddick, and I'm doing a series on. We're just talking about world events, life events, things to help people have knowledge, get understanding of what's happening in this world, and how they can prepare and change their lives. Well, what we're going to talk about today is we're talking about the fall of the Western world. You know, um, we can all see it happening right now. We see them in Europe, we see it in Britain, we see it in Canada, United States. We're all living off a debt society. All they've done, they've created a debt society so they can control the people. And through all empires, it doesn't work. And eventually, the empires collapse. See, if you don't take care of your people, if you don't take care of society and the needs of society, the system collapses because you get into greed and selfishness. And people want power. A lot of it has to do with power. Who controls what? And that's the struggles we see today. We see the Western powers, they want to control everything. That's why they created NATO. That's why they're the problem with the Ukraine war right now is because they want to control Europe. They want to control the whole area of Europe, even Russia. They want to control Russia. A lot of people don't have the wisdom or knowledge or understanding what's going on. And they don't even understand why we're having a war in Ukraine, except through the lies of the media. And that's another problem with society, why empires collapse is because of the lies and deceit through the government organizations. And the the media is controlled by the government. It's not controlled by the bosses, the CEOs that run it. It's controlled by an organization called the CIA. It helps the elite. The elite has taken over the everyday media to be able to accomplish their purpose, their plans, because the media won't go against them. And that's the main problem. And sorry, my daughter's calling me, but that's the main problem. That nobody understands what's happening. They just see the collapse. They just see the inflation rates go up. They see in the grocery stores and all that the prices that their paychecks don't go as far as they used to. It's because of the collapse of these governments. They're the cause of these problems because of they want to create, say, they want to create a one world government. The Western powers. See, if you're religious or not, don't look at the Bible as a religious book, okay? Many people take the Bible as the wrong thing. The Bible is a guide, a direction. Yes, it's spiritually, but you can learn. You don't have to be spirit to get the knowledge and wisdom from the Bible. There's a lot of stuff in the Bible, like a lot of stuff that is happening here that is explained in the Bible. The Bible tells us about things that will happen. Babylon, the great city of Babylon, the downfall of Babylon was written in the Bible. The next, um, see the empires that would rise. This the Babylon king had a dream that was shown the next empires, the next five empires that would come after his empire would collapse. And that was written in the Bible. And what's beautiful about that statue is what we're seeing it come to life today, in the sense that the 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 statue has these legs. Okay, let me explain the statue so you understand. First of all, the king of Babylon had a dream about a statue. The head made of gold, the breastplate in that is silver. The the one that goes around the waist is brass, and the legs were made out of iron, and the toes were made out of iron and clay. And the the um, the gold head was represented by Babylon. The silver is represented by the Medes and the Persians, where at Babylon, where God says your kingdom's going to be taken away, all of a sudden the Medes and Persians came in the next day and took over Babylon, destroyed Babylon, and they became to reign. And then when the time came that we needed a new empire, the Greeks took over. So the Greeks are the bronze. And these things really happen. You can go back in history, not in the Bible, there's history books tell you. Then the legs, the black legs were made of iron. And there were two legs because the Roman Empire was split when Caesar died and all the head guys were died. Rome was split between two generals. And that's how you get the two divisions, two legs. And now what's happening today is that the empires for the 10 toes hasn't been created. But that's what you see being created today. You're seeing history that was told thousands of years ago being accomplished today. That's where you see the BRICS. That's Russia, India, Nigeria, and Brazil, South Africa. And now they've added many other countries where they're trying to establish the 10-toe kingdom. That's why America is so against, the Western world is so against them, because they wanted to create the 10 toes, but they failed. That's why they created the European Union. The European Union was supposed to be the beginning of creating the empire of the 10 toes, but they failed because they introduced things like globalism, where they wanted to create globalism so they could control all the countries in the world. In 1972, the Americans created the petrodollar. So now they created how oil all over the world had to be sold in American dollars. That has destroyed many countries. See, why people hate America is because America is out there. The Western powers, why they hate Western powers, because of our greed and selfishness, where we want to control everything and make you poor. South America is one of the richest countries in the world for oil and all that. 70s, they were doing really good in the 70s. And then the Americans went in there to destroy them by putting them in debt, saying, oh, no, you got to spend this money, you got to borrow this money from us, only because they wanted to control them. And they put the debt in their lives to control them. That's why uh, civilizations have died. Sorry. Let me see what's going on here. I just gotta. Sorry. But that's why they've died. Now, what's trying to be created now is the one world religion. Sorry, let's start this off. The one world government, the new world order, where they have one government, one money system, one religion, where they had total control over the people, where they're creating the electronics, a chip to go into your right hand, which was written in the Bible thousands of years ago. Was said there was a chip was going to be a mark was going to be put into your hand that controls spending, your ability to buy and sell. It says in there that it'll control the ability to buy and sell. And that's what they're trying to create today. They already have it. You see it in Sweden, Finland, Switzerland, where they're using it already. Most of the babies that are born in those countries are automatically chipped. And they said, it's there for your protection. It's not there for your protection. It's there for them to control you. Because when they bring this banking system in the power, they can control you by turning on or off your chip. If you're not following their social score system, we'll talk about that. Then they can just turn off your chip. Now, the social score, where they're implementing that in China. See, China wants a new world order, but they want it their way. That's why they got involved with Russia, India, and all that. They want to create it their way, where the Western powers wants to create it their way. So that's the struggle here. It's not that China's bad, Russia's bad, America's bad. America is bad because they've created all the terrorism and all that in the world. They created because they have to have a reason to create their military complex. The reason to build all the aircraft carriers they build, all the weapons they build, all the weapons they they put to have military bases all over the world. They have to have a reason so they can get the money from the Congress. But the Western powers are dying. Even the Bible says, when your morals die, and that's the problem with these countries. When the morals die, society dies. And then everything else just falls apart. Well, let's get back to globalism for a sec, where, see, America, the Western powers are all against China. But the Western powers created China. They created all the funds, all the money. China was nothing before globalism. They were just a poverty country. But then the Western powers started doing globalism. We started switching our factories around, where countries that were exporting countries now are importing countries, and they sent their businesses to other countries to export back to us. It's like fruits and vegetables. Why they're so expensive? Because say in Canada, they send the Canadian vegetation to Mexico. Then we have to send the Mexican stuff here, and we have to buy the Mexican products that are more money. Instead of paying 10 cents for a tomato, we're paying 25 cents or 30 cents. It's probably a lot more, but that's just an example because of globalism. Globalism. Globalists, sorry. Because of the globalists, they've destroyed the Western powers. And now with all we're to keep a society going, a family has to have more than, say, the statistic is 2.5 babies, but you can't have 2.5 babies. So you got to have at least 3 children to a family to keep a race going. So the white race, according to statistics, the white race is dying. Why? Because we're only having 1 or 2 children. Like even my family, I only have 2 children. We would have had 3, but we my wife had a miscarriage, but we only have 2. But I grew up in a family of 9 kids. But imagine having a family of 9 kids today compared to when I grew up. I grew up in the 70s where we used to go to a grocery store called the City Grocery Store, and my dad would fill up 2 shopping carts of food, and it would cost him $100. Now you can go to a grocery store today and fill up 2 bags of groceries and walk out of there with a $100 bill. Inflation. And why is inflation? Inflation is controlled by the government. The government creates inflation because they created debt. They started a debt system. The globalists started a debt system. Now you see America will never, ever pay off their debts that they owe. Canada, the Western powers, will never be able to pay back their debts, which debts we shouldn't have in the first place. And we'll get that into another topic because the Federal Reserve that prints money for us is not a government agency. It's a private agency that charges our governments. That's why you pay taxes on your paychecks, which is illegal. To pay to them to give us money, to lend us money that we are supposed to print ourselves. Our government is supposed to print the money, not another entity that lends the money to us and charges us interest. And believe me, we will never pay back the principal of the loan because all we're doing right now is paying the interest payments. That's all we're doing. And a society like that cannot survive. That's why you see America creating war, and the Western powers create wars like the Roman Empire. When they knew they were dying, they figured, let's create war and take the wealth from our enemies. But they couldn't afford to. First of all, they were separated by 2 different leaders. One would want to go fight, the other one said no. So it was split. Rome was split. So it made it even harder for them to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. But that's where you see America now. America, Britain, Germany, France. You know, you don't really hear too much about Spain now, but the 4 main, or in Canada too, but the 4 main European countries are Germany, France, Britain, and Norway, and Sweden, all calling for war against Russia, which Russia never wanted. They pushed Russia into a war. And they want war with Russia to try to destabilize Russia. But it's not working. They're losing. And now our tax dollars, our billions and billions of dollars are going to Ukraine, which not even Ukraine is using. You can prove it. You go on YouTube and find out how the black market is, all the weaponry and money's getting onto the black market. See, this is how corrupt they are. They're using Ukraine to funnel money all around to their they're people that they want. The terrorist organizations that they've created. It's like France in Africa. Why is Africa kicking France out of Africa? Because they see that they said we're there to fight your terrorists, but they don't do anything. They haven't stopped. They don't fight the terrorists. They promote the terrorists. They give them weapons. They give them money. They need to get it stabilized so that the African countries will be afraid of them, and they'll keep the French there, so the French could steal all their minerals. But what the power of God now is bringing men to power in Africa that are kicking the French out, that want to build their country for the people. The Africa is going to be a great nation one day, and people don't see it. That's why China, India, and Russia is in Africa, because they know Africa could become a superpower one day if they come together and unite together and help each other. And we're in a country called Uganda, where we're building our church, we're building health and wellness, and we're building businesses. We're building finances. Because God's taking everything away from the Western powers and giving it to Africa. It's a beautiful time. We live in such beautiful times. And we get to witness the downfall of empires. Like Britain is already down. Look at it took Britain 200 years to build its empire, and they lost it within 15 years. 15 years because of their corruption. Now Britain is nothing. They're been overtaken by their enemies. Even the Bible says it, that if you don't follow the moral responsibilities, the spiritual responsibilities, your enemies will come in and take you over. And look at the Muslims have totally dominated Europe, in America, and they're dominating here in Canada. See, they're destroying our democracy, our governments. Now they say, like, they fight in Canada that we don't have enough housing. Well, stop bringing people into this country until we build the structures that you can bring people in. Like, I know Canada was created on a multicultural. People from all over the world come and here and become Canadians. But they're not true Canadians. The ones that immigrate here are, but the ones who are brought here don't care about Canada. They don't care about the downfall. Canada's going to fall. We have a housing crisis right now in Canada that's going to destroy us financially. A lot of these people can't afford the housing. The government's paying for them to stay in hotels. There's all kinds of hotels around in Mississauga where I live, and they're all filled with immigrants from Middle Eastern countries. They're buying them bicycles for their children. They're buying them clothes. They're paying all this stuff, and who's paying for it? Your tax dollars. And this is what they're doing in America. The Democrats, the woke society, is filling the country up with vicious people, immoral people, gangs, drug lords. What do you think in Canada? They made marijuana legal because they use it to pacify you, so you won't stand up and fight against what the tragedy that's going on in our country. Civilians don't stand up. Your freedom is going to be taken away from you. Look at in Canada. We had a peaceful demonstration. a truckers demonstration. And the elite got scared because so many people united together in peace. So they had to do martial law on peaceful people. And they stole the money from their bank accounts. Even little old ladies that donated to help them, their bank accounts were frozen. You see the power they have? They don't care about you. They don't care if you go hungry, can't pay your rent. All they care about is power and, and authority, having the authority over you, treating you like a bunch of slaves, 9 to 5 slave laborers. That's all you are to them. Pay your taxes. Give me my money. It's funny how so many politicians go into office this making less than $1 million. Then they come out multi millionaires. So how did they become multi millionaires? Because they were paid off for their votes in the House of Representatives. They were given inside trading. There's the Western world is so corrupt. There's no morals anymore. We're corrupt financially and we're corrupt morally. And that's why our civilizations are dying. And they will die. You watch when Donald Trump gets into power. America, not because of Donald Trump, it's because of the way the Americans are and the society they have created, the financial mess that Obama and um, oh, who's that leader now? Joe Biden. It's so easy to forget that name. Have created a mess, like with tell me, you're supporting Ukraine, so you're supporting us giving money to Ukraine to send innocent people that don't want to fight. The Ukrainian people don't want to fight to be murdered. They've lost over 600,000 dead soldiers. So when you count that, for every one dead soldier, there's 3 soldiers that are injured. So you're talking over 1.8 million Ukrainian men have been put out of action. Their lives have been totally destroyed. Russia wants peace. Russia doesn't want this war. Russia just doesn't want their civilians to be treated as second class is the way Ukraine has been treating them. Remember, Ukraine was the most corrupt country in the world, well, especially in Europe, maybe in the world. It was a corrupt country. That's how Biden and his son made so much millions of dollars. But you have to come up and you have to stand up. You have to fight. Not allow your politicians, like my son, he's only 22, 23. My son is 23. So he's military age. I don't want my son going to war for a corrupt society. And that's what they want. They want all out war. And they don't care about sending your sons and daughters to war to die. So you got to stop supporting them. Wake up, get knowledge, get wisdom. Find out the truth before it destroys the society, destroys you and your family, destroys your lives. Because I'm telling you, when Trump leaves, America's going to be broke. You know, they've been talking for years and years and years about America collapsing. Well, it's not about if America's going to collapse or not. It's about when they're going to collapse, because they're going to collapse. They cannot continue living the way they're living. all the money they're stealing. The laws of success, we live in laws that govern the universe. And those laws will destroy them. So you have to, what I suggest to you is to take care of you and your family. Do everything you can to prepare your family for the downfall of America, the Western powers. It's going to happen, especially when with America losing its dominance on the petrodollar, like Russia, China, India, and Saudi Arabia, and all that. They're dealing with gold until they can design the proper currency that they want to use throughout their system. And once America is not the dollar is not the dominant currency in the world, America will fall. Because the only thing keeping an American alive today is that all these countries own so many treasury bills, debt bills, that they can't allow America to fall until they can create a system that will protect themselves. And that's what that's what the BRIC system is doing. They're creating a system to protect themselves. That's why China, Russia, India, all these countries are buying up gold so that their currency can be backed by gold like it used to be in America, in Canada, in Europe. But the currencies aren't backed by gold anymore. It's just backed by a piece of paper. So, as a warning to you, get your families prepared and get yourself prepared because we're headed into a bumpy road. Life is not going to get easier. It's just going to continue to get worse and worse and worse. Thank you for being here. Hope this video has opened your eyes and given you a chance to think, you know, get into the books and all that you can learn about history. History always repeats itself, always. And now we're seeing the downfall. As we've seen the downfall of the Roman Empire, the Greek Empire, the Persian Empire, the Babylon Empire. No empire lasts forever because of corruption. Thank you for being here. Have an awesome week. Till our next video.